Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where my voice is still not back to normal, and last episode we launched this a little prematurely, and then messed it up to boot. So we did take the hit in our cache for that. That was a failed launch, and we're going to relaunch this now that we've added in the bits and pieces that should be connected to it. So that'll be absolutely fine, and clearly the only explanation I have is that my judgment is being affected somewhat by the disease that is currently ravaging my body, which is, you know, not necessarily a great thing, but we'll just have to proceed in that knowledge for now. So we're just going to launch this. It is ready to go at this point, and that'll be great. We're going to get this loaded up, and we're going to launch this up to the ISS. Once we get to the ISS, we will have to restart the game most likely, because we are going to have a significant frame rate issue at that point. We'll see what the timing is like. I may just put a cut in the episodes at that point if we are good on that front. This is not at the correct launch site. This is not at Woomerang at all. Okay, I'm going to cut out swapping to Woomerang, but we'll be there in just a moment. So here we are, loaded in at Woomerang, and we are ready to launch this. So let's just target the ISS, 200 kilometers. This all looks correct, remarkably. So let's just launch into plane of target and engage autopilot. That'll be in about an hour, which is correct. That's what we expect. So that'll be absolutely fine. This time, can we actually select our fairing? The answer is maybe. After the time warp, we'll find out. So we'll be launching this very, very shortly here. Here in about 11 seconds. That's a heat shield there. So no, we still can't select the fairing by clicking on this. Intriguing. Well, that's not the biggest of deals. We'll just have to remember that that's how it is. So 2 seconds, 1 second, and we are launching. Phenomenal. Our solid fuel boosters are, of course, already out. We're not really trying to utilize solid fuel boosters too much, and this appears to be wiggling more than the previous version. But the previous version did get under control as we got additional speed built up, so that's good. We should be fine on that front, in theory. Yeah, looks reasonably okay here. So we've got about 60 seconds on our SRBs here, and we're just going to lift this straight on, well, not straight. We're going to lift it straight into the plane of the orbit of the ISS here, as we've done many, many times in the past at this point. We are currently off by about 23 degrees in our ascending-descending node, but that's fine. It's being dealt with. This feels like we're moving very slowly right now. Only 250 meters per second, but our thrust to weight is up over 2, so it should be absolutely fine. I think it just feels slow because we're at Woomerang, and the frame rate is always a little low when we're on the ground at Woomerang due to the sheer number of trees. Of course, once we get a little higher up, things get a lot better on that regard. So that's fine. Our apoapsis height is currently sitting at about 20 kilometers. All is looking good on that front, and we're about to have our side boosters, our strap-on boosters, detach in about 20 seconds here. So that's all absolutely fine for now. This thing does have a lot of extra fuel in it. We know that it has, like, a crazy amount of extra fuel, in fact. But we're going to have our Korolev cross, in theory, happening in about 4 seconds. At these inclinations, the Korolev cross is a little harder for the game engine to pull off, but there we go. Yeah, it largely happened. Cool. So we probably want to turn down this gimbal limit to around 33%, so that we don't have this massive wiggle occurring. Yeah, that's a little bit better, anyway. So our apoapsis height is currently about 70 kilometers. We're at about the boundary between space and the atmosphere, in KSP anyway. Of course, in reality, it's nowhere near as solid of a boundary as it is in KSP, and it's like 30 kilometers higher in reality too. So that'll be fine. We're targeting 200 kilometers here. No problem whatsoever there. We will eventually ditch our fairing here. The question is, when? I think not yet. We're working on getting a bunch of horizontal speed. We are up over 50 kilometers at this point, so arguably we could do it now. And I'm going to. Okay. We definitely see quite a lot of wiggling happening here. Once this stage is burned out, we should be pretty good to go on that front. I don't think we'll have a significant amount of wiggling at that point. Should be okay. In theory. But we're just going to continue to burn here for a while. We can see our apoapsis height is currently actually going down, which is slightly wild. But we're getting a lot of horizontal speed at this point. It's going down because we're currently corrective steering below the horizon. And there's also this wiggling occurring up here. But we've got about 40 seconds of burn left in this center stage here. Once that is eliminated, things will get a lot better for us. Oh, we just auto-deployed our solar panels. Okay, cool. So we can see now time to apoapsis is increasing, and this is absolutely fine. We've got about 20 seconds of burn left in this stage. And our apoapsis height is pushing up towards that 200 kilometer marker. We're now fine-tuning the apoapsis. And we've got about 10 total seconds of burn left here. Okay, that seems fine. So at this point, we are going to wiggle our way around here. And we'll just position somewhere over here. Now, does this lander can have a reaction wheel? It actually does. I'm going to turn off that reaction wheel. I guess we'll just go down to wheel authority at 0%. Okay. So something like that. We're in the process of making our way over to the... Oh, wow, that's very wiggly. We're making our way over to the point where we want to do this burn. And that wiggle will get under control. No doubt about it. So how's our inclination looking? 2.2? That's actually kind of off. We might want to do an inclination change here. Probably not the worst idea at 2.2. We'll see what it's like after this burn. Okay, that should be more than sufficient to get us into orbit here. We're actually still burning here, but this is absolutely fine. Okay, I'm going to disengage the autopilot. This is close enough. We'll go over to Killrot, and we've got 6 seconds of burn left in this tank. That's reasonably fine for now. We are 2.2 degrees off on our inclination, so I do want to make an inclination change here, and we're just going to bring that down to about... Okay, we need a little bit more here. About there. There we go. 81.5 meters per second. Okay, so that's going to use up about half of what we have remaining here. Sounds good. Let's just wiggle our way over here, although I do want to decouple our launch escape system. I'm not going to activate it. We're just going to get rid of it. We don't want it there. We don't want to carry it anymore. So that'll be fine. That actually gives us 3 additional meters per second here. But we have so much delta V in this thing, it's insane. Like, look at how much delta V we have at this point. We have 4,500. Honestly, I'm going to ditch this stage. Okay, we don't need that. We're going to get rid of it. And we're just going to burn this with this stage here. And we'll use this for getting to the station, although it's massively overkill. Absolutely massively overkill. And then we're going to use our thruster up here for our actual rendezvous. That'll be fine. So let's get our inclination change done here. 30 seconds. 20. 10. And 3, 2, 1, 0. Mark. Excellent. So this will put us in virtually an identical inclination. We overshot that a little bit. 0.7 seconds, or 0.7 meters per second, I should say. It's probably close enough, but let's just get into position here and bring it on down. This is definitely close enough. Okay, so this is now showing us 0.0 degrees. Cool. Let's see about getting a rendezvous. What would that look like here? That is terrible. Okay, we're definitely going to need to wait an orbit or two. Looks like an orbit. And this will be around here. That's not bad. We can definitely work with that. So that's 4.3 kilometers off. We can dial that in by just bringing this inward retrograde a little bit. I mean, 0.7 kilometers is way, way close enough. At this point, we really don't need this fuel that we have in this tank, but it's fine. We can utilize it for this burn and then ditch it, and I think that's what we're going to do. Alternatively, we could bring this all the way to the station and use this fuel to refuel whatever might need fuel on the station. That is a theoretical option, and maybe it's not a bad option here, now that I think about it. So we're just getting into position for this burn. And let's warp on around. So now we're just waiting for the timing for the burn, which will be in about 1 minute. 50 seconds, 40, 30, 20, 10, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. There we go. I was slightly late on that burn, but that's okay. We shouldn't have any major issues from that one. Yeah, I think we're going to bring this up and use this to do some refueling. That's absolutely fine to do. I have no problems with that. Okay, 0.5 meter per second off. This is close enough. I'm not concerned about 0.5 meter per second. So at this point, we would want to warp to be about here. And over we go. The station should be out from Kerbal for us, so somewhere out this direction. It's going to be coming in from... Yeah, we should be quite close at this point. Let's switch over to target mode here. Relative velocity... I think minus is probably okay. 132.9? Okay, yep. Where is that station? It should be... Okay, there it is. 24 kilometers away at this time. Looks good. Thrust to weight is 0.68. Noted. Okay, let's put this onto kill rot, and let's do a small correction here. This thing turns very slowly, compared to what I'm used to with the space shuttle. That is definitely noted. But there's a small corrective burn, and let's see where that puts us. 1.6 kilometers away, so that actually increased our distance away. That's fine. We're going to do another small corrective burn once we get a little closer. We were just a little too far away for that, I think. So we'll hop over to kill rot for right now. And let's bring this guy right on in to be about... Ooh, okay. This definitely has a different handling profile than I'm used to. No doubt about that. Let's just bring this over to relative velocity minus now. Yeah, that's 0.2 kilometers. That'll be absolutely fine. So we're just going to bring this guy in. And we only need to change 95 meters per second here. So we can warp in a decent amount here. Down to about here, where we're going to load in the station right now. Station is currently loading. Goodbye, frame rate. Oh yeah, look at that frame rate. That is phenomenal. And let's start up our braking burn. I think we're going pretty slow here as it is, but that's okay. We just need to get fairly close to the station, right? So let's bring this down to about 20 meters per second or so as our relative differential. We're at about 30 meters per second right now, and there's 20 meters per second as our relative differential. Now I'm going to warp in a little bit here and bring us closer. I'm not going to attempt to do too much maneuvering at this frame rate, because that's not going to go well. I can tell you that right now. But let's just bring this back to about here. We're about 400 meters out. And let's bring this down to about 10 meters per second now. There we go. Warping it a little bit further. Now we're about 200 meters out, which is about the closest we're going to get here. Half a meter per second apart. Okay. Let's just bring this down to approximately 0, and then we'll bring this in. But the frame rate does need to get dealt with. No doubt about it. Do I have to do a full game restart, or would just reloading this scene do the trick, I wonder? I've been historically doing a full game restart, but maybe I should try it with just hopping back to the Space Center and then reloading the scene. That would probably be a lot faster, now that I think about it. Are you actually going to relative velocity minus? I feel like you're not. This is not relative velocity minus. What are you doing? I have no idea what the vehicle is doing right now. We could turn this wheel authority back on. That might help matters a bit, but it will create this wiggling problem. Yeah, I don't like it. We'll get rid of that. And we want to be right at this relative velocity minus marker. I don't know why it wasn't actually turning there. That was very strange, but whatever. I guess we could use RCS. It does not want to use RCS. Okay. This might have something to do with the frame rate. We'll call this good enough, and I'm going to quick save here just in case. Let's hop back to the Space Center, and let's see if just reloading this scene does the trick. If so, that would be very convenient. But if not, I'll restart the game. So we'll find out. Fingers crossed that this works. This would definitely be faster. So from here, of course, we are, as soon as we actually get loaded in, we're going to need to hop into the tracking station. We can also use this time to untrack our debris that we created. So we'll get that cleaned up so that the game runs a little bit better. And let's fly our Poisk module here. And fingers crossed that this does okay on the frame rate. That it's, like, playable. That would be good. We'll find out as soon as it gets loaded in. And if this doesn't work, then I will restart the game. Well, this is inauspicious. Uh-huh. I think this might be worse in terms of the slideshow. Okay. Well, I'm going to restart the game, and we'll just load up this save, and I'll be back in just a moment then. Okay, so here we are loaded up at a marginally better frame rate, so that is all good. We, of course, need to figure out where we're going to dock this thing, and the answer is on the Russian module at the Zenith docking port. So that's this guy right here. We're actually a little too far away, it looks like, to select that, so we're going to need to head on over there. So let's just hop into Killrot and get this thing turned. It doesn't really like to turn. There's no doubt about that. And I think that's because of the weight of the fuel that we have here. Like, this is 3,000 meters per second of fuel. So that's definitely a concern. We'll try to get this thing turned. I would prefer not to physics warp, for obvious reasons. We've had issues with that previously. No doubt about it. So let's just rotate on over. We need to get over onto the other side of this thing. And I would like to point... Just thinking here about what direction is what. And I don't actually know what direction is what. Okay. Out over this way, approximately? Sure. Maybe not. Let's freeze our physics here. And we want to go... Yes, this direction. This is correct. Cool. This thing is very slow to turn. No doubt about it. Again, it's because of the fuel in here. And that's reasonably expected, to be honest. Absolutely fine. So I'm just trying to bring us up a little bit. We don't want to actually impact this thing, right? So somewhere around here should be about the right angling. Okay. So now we're going to bring this thing in at about 0.5 meters per second or so. Should be more than sufficient. There we go. I'm going to turn RCS on, and we're going to adjust our actual heading here, because we were off a little bit due to the engine gimbaling there. No doubt about that. I want this heading to be directly forward. Okay. So we're going to be heading off this direction for now. And let's warp forward a bit. This feels a little too down. But that's maybe not bad, actually. We're going to go down and underneath. It's a little awkward. No doubt about that. Let's think about moving our trajectory to be off over here. Okay. So we're going to have to go up once we get over here, but that's fine. I'm absolutely okay with that. Let's just get this into position here. And let's continue to warp forward a bit. Let's get to the other side of the station before bringing this to a halt. So about here or so. Should be relatively fine. Maybe a little further. Yeah, about here. Okay. Now let's bring this to a halt. That is the wrong way. Okay, there we go. Bringing it to a halt. Two meters per second to go. 1 meter per second to go, approximately. And that'll do the trick. I'm going to turn the RCS off now. And we're going to want to rotate basically towards target. But I want to change our target to be this docking port. Okay, so now we're going to need to get up to the far side here, right? But let's, for now, just turn towards target. And this is going to be a slow turn. No doubt about that. With all this extra fuel in here, it's very slow. But we are going to be able to utilize this fuel in a lot of locations here and just store the fuel on the station, which is probably good. Probably, anyway. We'll see if it's actually good, but for now, this is what we're going to do. Okay. So, we're going to get into approximately the right orientation here fairly soon. We don't actually want to point at the target, but we want to point, like, this way, right? We want to point parallel to the target. Ish. Parallel-ish to the target. So, we're just lining up here. I'm going to put us onto kill rot now. And I'm going to freeze our physics here. Next, I want to angle our velocity here to be this direction a bit. Because we want to just be going basically up, right? I don't want to actually point at the target. I want to be pointing next to the target. Okay, let's call this good enough for now. We just want to get our... We're on the zenith side right now, and we just want to make our way over to the nadir side. Or rather, other way around. We're on the nadir side right now, and we want to make our way around to the zenith side. Okay, so that'll be good for the moment. We're at a slightly awkward angle here, but that's fine. Ooh, wrong way. Okay, there we go. Let's bring this to a halt. Okay, something about, like, this should do. There we go. Now we're going to point over towards the target, but we're going to need to change our overall position here a fair amount, right? So that's absolutely expected. You got deployed, didn't you? Yes, you did. Okay. MechJeb must have deployed that. That's okay. I'm not too concerned about that right now. In terms of the angle that we're going to deploy this thing at, I'm not too concerned about it. We'll just try to have this be, like, relatively straight on. I think that'll be the way that this will end up going. So for now, that's fine. We're going to need to move this direction a little bit, right? So what direction is that? Can we not be using the RCS to turn, please? That would be great. I would prefer it if we were not using the RCS to turn right now. Okay, let's just get lined up here. It's a very slow process. No doubt about that. But we're going to need to go this direction. We need to get lined up before we can make any movements here. So eventually, we'll be lined up. Just slowly creeping into place here. Okay. There we go. That's pretty close. Gonna freeze physics. There we go. Okay, RCS is now on. The RCS is trying to push us over there, but what we want to do right now is determine what direction is what. Okay. We want to be going this way a little bit. No doubt about that. And we're going to want to go this way a little bit too. So which direction is that? This way. Okay. Something along the lines of this. We're struggling a bit here, fighting against this, but this is approximately the direction that we want to be going here. So I'm just using RCS to accelerate us forward here a bit. And we're also trying to turn with the RCS, which is not exactly ideal. But I just want to move us a bit forward here and get us approximately in line. So obviously, we're pretty far off on this angling, but we are drifting into place. Okay. We're going to be lined up on this axis, I think, before we're lined up on this axis. Maybe. But we're just doing 2-axis movement right now. We don't really care too much about our forward-backward vector. All we care about is aligning this on 2 axes. So that's looking good for the moment. We can probably warp this forward a little bit, but I don't want to, because we want to have this be turning as we move. So for now, this will do just fine. We're nearly in position on one axis here. In fact, both are getting kind of close. Kind of close. But we're not there yet. I'm just going to push us over this way a little bit farther. Okay. Something about like this. Things are definitely very slowly improving for us in terms of our angling. We're going to need to go this way, no doubt about that, but for now, this is okay. Okay, we're going to need to bring this to a halt fairly soon. So I'm just bringing this around here. Keeping an eye on our marker here. This is the retrograde marker. So we've kind of brought this full circle here, but that's okay. Bringing it around. We're not exactly lined up here, but we're pretty close. Okay, at this point, we need to go this way a bit. So what direction is that? This way. Cool. That'll do for now. So we're just bringing that gently in here. Something along the lines of that. Okay. Looks good. Of course, we're going to have to change our roll here as well. But we're just very gently drifting in here. I really wish that the RCS would stop killing our momentum in the same direction as it tries to turn us. That is very sad. but whatever. Okay, we're going to need to change our roll here. So I'm going to set up the roll to be about here or so. Okay. Now what we need to do is bring our momentum over. Actually, this way. We need to bring our momentum over this way and start heading a bit towards the target here. Okay, so we're just changing where the position of our vector is here. And we're just bringing that as in as we can for right now. It moves very slowly due to the mass in our fuel tanks, but that is expected. Okay, somewhere about here. So we're bringing this in, and how are we doing on our angling? Our angling looks pretty decent. I'm not too concerned about that right now. I do think we're going to need to go this way a little bit. I don't know which way that is. Looks like it's this way. First place I tried. Cool. So we're just going to bring that over to about here or so. Yeah. Needs a little bit more vectoring on that angle. There we go. We definitely see this swaying around a bit. That is noted. But we need to continue to move this direction slightly. We are a little off on our angling here, and we can fix that. So that doesn't look too bad now. I think we're in a much better position there. It's not perfect yet, but it is better. It's pretty close now. Okay, let's start bringing this vector down. Yep. We are approximately correct now. Cool. So that vector has been brought down at this juncture. And now I want to accelerate in just a tiny bit. 0.2 meters per second. Are we close enough here? I think the answer is probably. Probably. It's very, very close. No doubt about that. So let's just bring this right on in and get this affixed. It is about time to put a cut in here, so assuming that this docking procedure works and that we don't bounce, which I don't think we will, we should be relatively good to go on that front. So all we'll need to do is get this secured next episode. It will be time to put a cut in here. So I'll do that. We'll get that secured. We'll get our fuel transferred out of here, and we are going to bring these guys home relatively quickly here. So that'll be absolutely great. Let's see if this docking works. Docking forces kind of pushed our momentum all over there. All over there. Okay. We need to move this guy over this way just a little bit. Come on, RCS. RCS is causing us some problems right now. Can we stop? Okay, there we go. We are docked. That was exciting. RCS was really messing things up for a moment there, but we got there in the end. This should be absolutely fine in terms of our orientation, so it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to get this secured and get this all not docked up. I'm kind of distracted right now. I believe there's a cat in the hallway making a considerable amount of noise. You may be able to hear it. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.